Good morning everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm your host Mazun Taha, and in this video today we're gonna talk about something that has changed our whole world as we know it, COVID-19. Now if you were living under a rock for the past 1.5 years and you have never heard of this name before, fear not. In this presentation today we're gonna talk about everything that's related to COVID-19 so you can be up with the latest information out there. So without further ado, let's hop onto the video. But hold on, before we start the video, we have to understand what COVID-19 is. Now, COVID-19 is a virus, and if you don't know what a virus is, don't worry about it. We got this for you. A virus is a very tiny structure that contains either DNA or RNA. This DNA or RNA is protected with a protein coat. Now, this tiny virus, it affects host cells, for example, the human body, our cells. And when it enters the cells through diffusion, it dumps its all DNA and RNA inside the cell, so it could be replicated to create more viruses later on through a process called reverse transcriptase. Now, what happens is the virus takes over the whole cell and makes it a factory for producing more viruses. And then the cell bursts and then you get more viruses later on because it surrounds the whole other cells with extra viruses and so on until the process creates a huge factory and production of viruses in your own body. And this has been an overview of what a virus is. However, there are different strands of viruses out there. So that doesn't mean that every virus is the same. Different genetic coding, different ways of attacking the body and cells, and different, of course, symptoms. And coronavirus is, of course, a major part and major player in the virus game right now in the world, and we're going to talk about it later on. Now, the virus itself, it's very dangerous. Why? Because it attacks your own respiratory system, which means your air breathing and makes it harder for you to breathe, basically. What happens is, let's say hypothetical scenario, you got that one uncle who just loves to speak and loves to spit everywhere while he's speaking, this one uncle, that
Nice.
one person. Now this person, you talk with him and he's already, sadly diagnosed with coronavirus. Now you too have coronavirus and these tiny cells, they enter your nose through your, trachea and so on and so forth, your bronchus, your bronchioles, all the way to the alveoli. Now, alveoli are the smallest part in where there happens to be the respiration. Respiration, where, carbon in, carbon out, oxygen in, oxygen out, and so on and so forth. Now, this virus, it enters the cells, the host cells, and it causes the body to go through inflammation, severe pain, redness, and there are other symptoms also, including, fluid. It fills your alveoli with fluid. There has to be stiffness a bit. And as we discussed before in the chapter with Mr. Saeed in the sessions with antibodies, inflammation happens, so that the body itself can attack the virus. But sadly, we do not recover from this as like previously as normal. However, there has to be some damage done to the alveoli, and this is why in most cases people can survive, but then they can get breathing problems later on in their lives. However, in some extreme cases people actually die from oxygen deficiency, and this has been how the virus attacks. Now we're going to move on to different statistics and so far what the virus have done to the world. If you're interested, we're going to move on to that right now. So now you got a basic idea on what happens to the body and, coronavirus, and why is it very dangerous, and why doctors are recommending us to stay at home due to the different various risks out there. So what happened to the world while you were under your rock not knowing what happened? Not good at all. We have had 3 million plus deaths, over 160 million coronavirus cases. We got a lot of returners though, thank God. But the economy, no. The economy, we lost $28 trillion. Major economic imbalances where major corporate companies like Amazon, Facebook made trillions of dollars, while your local businesses out there lost a lot of money and a lot of labor. So far, we've lost over 225 million jobs throughout the whole world. These are families starving due to COVID-19. But at least now we got vacation and we can take school from online classes. And I could not have done this video had it not been online through COVID-19. So at least there is a plus, and you get to see me teaching you about COVID-19, a new virus. So you can get smarter every day by day. But seriously though, there has been a lot of damage. And we have to know how to protect ourselves in these situations. We're gonna move on. Now, if you're like me right now and you were taken aback by all this information, we have to go through the safety process. And if you got this one uncle, father, mother in your family who keeps telling you this coronavirus thing is a hoax, don't listen to those people out there. Just eat a lemon every day and you will never get the coronavirus. I'm sorry to say this, but it's not gonna work. And you have to take some measures. Some measures has to be taken. So the number one thing, which is pretty obvious, is you gotta always wear your mask. And it's even recommended for you to double mask, which means you have to wear 2 masks on top of each other. Even if you felt like sharing your beautiful face to the world that day and you just woke up on the right side of the bed, I'm sorry to say this, you have to wear your mask. Also, you gotta have this bottle of hand sanitizer with you everywhere if you're not gonna wear at least gloves. Because you never know who touched that elevator before you. There has been videos circulating the internet where people are actually spitting on those buttons, so beware. I told you. Don't come around and say, Mazen, you did not warn us. No, I did warn you. I told you there has to be this one person who just loves to share his saliva with the world, and it's fine. Now, the third part, you have to take care of your hands and your sanitation. What that means is you gotta wash your hands before you eat, after you come from public places, and you have to avoid public areas and avoided crowds. I know as part of the Muslim countries, and I'm Muslim myself, I like to pray outside and I like to go to mosques, but in these situations I feel it's not recommended for people to actually gather in one place and pray together. We can have distancing, of course, but sadly people tend to forget when they are around people, because we are emotional human beings. Human beings are very emotional creatures. When we find one another stressed, we tend to come closer to one another and try to make ourselves feel better. And this is why we do not recommend going out in public places and in crowded areas. And finally, you have to share these valuable information with everyone out there. If you have that one aunt who you have swore to God she would not have even knew about this whole COVID thing had it been Facebook and these misinformations that are circulating around the internet, you should be grateful that you have education right now in front of you, and you should value these points, because people out there, they do not have such things, and they do not even have the financial opportunities to wear masks, and so on and so forth. So please, if you're out there and you have family, please take care of yourself so you can take care later of your family, and then as a major, take care of the whole community. It has been a wonderful time. I'm your host, Mazen Taha, as always. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video. Goodbye.